Beyblade X just gave us a surprising release. Soul Eclipse, the beta that has the power of the sun
in the palm of my hand.
So if you like bays that spin, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts. To quickly go over the backstory on this was literally revealed in some sort of press release talking about Takara Tomi's releases and mentioning September. They also do say this is supposed to come out in late September. Eventually later on, once we get to August, once they do that little reveal for more of the images, we'll get a lot more info to go by. But for right now, what's really surprising about this is that this is a release that is a homage to the Metal Fight release of Soul Blaze. Soul Blaze was a release where it actually was for a movie promotion, and it's literally the sun. That is its thing. It is the sun. So I'll kind of go over all the parts that it says it has, and then after I'll give my thoughts on the main blade, and plus the crazy gimmicks that they mention. So this is supposed to come with 570. I don't know what the colors are supposed to be for 570, so I'm gonna randomly guess what they're supposed to be, but I think 5 sides, especially on 70 heights, like you don't really need to use it right now. There are other heights that are much more useful for 70 height, like 770, eventually a 170s. I don't know, like maybe like a hex or like a point build, but even then, I think 5 sides for 570 is not really much of a purpose in the current meta. We do get a new bit confirmed, which is supposed to be trans kick. So if you're wondering, this is very much going to be like how we got from Garuda with trans point, where for an example, if you're on 70 height, you'd be 60 height on low mode and 80 height in high mode. It was a bit that I think was okay. Some of the big issues with trans point, and this would probably extend to trans kick, assuming this is a similar design, is going to be on the fact that trans point can sometimes self-destruct when it does an extreme dash, and I feel it's a little easy to burst if you're not careful with it. Obviously, if you maybe either launch, for example, in high mode and then you do an X dash and you go to low mode, you can maybe avoid stuff or avoid launching near the rails. There are ways to maybe mitigate like the burst risk that is there. Potentially having a low mode for kick, basically a low kick, I think is going to probably be a decent option, but if it's going to be anything like trans point, it's probably going to be, well, there's a burst risk, so I don't really know if it's going to get used. But again, you know, unique bits that they're doing for Beyblade X, so I'll take what I can get. Now, moving on from there to the actual main blade here. So it does come with a D-assist blade. It could stand for dual, double, I don't know, we could guess, but in combination with the actual main blade here of Soul Eclipse, which is going to lead into my theories for how I think this gimmick is going to work, because they do mention on this article that it has a total of 8 mode changes. So we already know that with trans kick doing low and high mode, that is 2 mode changes. And if we want to think about the assist blade, I can reference Beyblade Burst, you know, change the orientation of 2S and it'll be exposed in a different way. So right there, that would be an additional 2 different mode changes you could have for the actual base. So far we're at 4. And you think about the main blade. So if you look at the actual chip design here, you're going to notice that there's a mix of red and blue. Now, when they have that mix there of red and blue, once it's actually going to start spinning, it's going to be purple, right? So I do see there's a little bit of blue there inside. Now, my theory could potentially be that maybe the Eclipse blade, you can literally flip it and it'll go from red to blue. Similar to, let's say, Metal Fight Beyblade, like Fang Leon, or you could flip it and it could have like a different orientation for the contacts place. That would be really cool. I don't think Beyblade X would do that. Not yet anyway. So I'm going to be kind of ruling that out for right now. And if you look at the notches that are on the main blade there, I think we might get something similar to potentially the 0G system, which would make sense for at least 2 mode changes, where in 0G you have the chrome and the element wheel, whatever they called it. You could either have the metal on top and the plastic on bottom, or the plastic on top and the metal on bottom. Now, if they implement this gimmick into Beyblade X, that could be pretty cool. It could fix one of the biggest issues with CX, aside from, let's say, bad shape, blah, 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 etc. The contacts are way too high and you're way too top heavy, so to have them at like normal heights could be cool. Probably have it where it's like a assist blade on top and then metal on bottom. Now, I'm assuming this would obviously only work with paired up with like a Eclipse plus whatever the D-assist blade actually is. The shape of it doesn't look like anything to really write home about, like anything really exciting. Something like this, like most of the custom line, I'm assuming that unless it's gonna actually put some weight onto it, probably won't work out too well. Even if it does maybe fix this issue, I still think either way, it does look very appealing for the design. I think it's something that's interesting that we're going to see for Beyblade X, and we're going to get a lot more information later on. But yeah, I think this is something cool. I want to see Beyblade experiment more. I think there's a lot of untapped potential for what they can do for customization, things they can improve upon for the future. So what do you think of this Eclipse release? Are you excited for it? We'll get more information in a couple of weeks, so we'll have a little bit more clarity on how it works. But yeah, that's kind of it. I don't really have much else to say, so I want to say thank you all for watching, and that's going to be it for now. Alrighty, take care and bye!